In this video, I'm going to show you how to transform Ableton's okay grand piano patch into an awesome piano patch using only 4 stock Ableton plugins. Brett Pontecorvo here at livekeyboardist.com, where I help keyboard players just like you with sound design, the ins and outs of Ableton, and building a fantastic, stable live keyboard setup. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. But without further ado, let's jump in. So Ableton's built-in piano sound is a little bit fuzzy. It's a little bit bassy. Sounds a little tinny, a little bit plasticky, but this can all be changed very simply and very quickly. So let's have a look at this first. I'm just going to drop in a spectrum, and that is going to help us to see with our eyes what this sound looks like across the spectrum. So what you're going to notice is that we've got a lot of high sounds on the low end. We've got some peaking happening here around the 300 or 400 range, and then we've got a sharp descent here, right, as we get into the higher end. And so what we're going to do is we're going to work to combat this a little bit. Now, the grand piano itself has some macros built in to alter these patches. We're just going to leave them. We're going to start from scratch. So first things first, let's get rid of some of that bassy frequency. So we're going to drop in an EQ8 here, and I'm going to turn everything off except for number 1. And I'm going to choose this high-pass filter, which is just going to take off some of the low end, and we'll set this at 100 hertz. So we'll have a listen. So you'll see it's brought down some of the lower end. And just that alone already makes it feel a lot more present, right? Okay, the next thing that we need to add is a compressor. Now, I really like using the glue compressor because it colors the sound just a little bit. Now, we don't want the attack to be too fast or too slow, and we only want it to hit or to kick in when you get to a certain volume, because you still want to have some dynamics in your playing. So I'm going to leave the attack at 1, but I'm going to bring the release up to 0.8, and we'll leave the ratio at 4. So we'll just bring this threshold down a touch. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, so right around -12 for me, I'm able to play some notes that don't touch the compressor. And then as I get louder, I'm able to work that compressor. So it sort of helps bring out the punch in my playing. Now, one more pro tip with this glue compressor, we're actually going to pop the side open, and we are going to pull out everything below 150. And this is just going to make sure that none of our lower sounds are pumping the compressor. It's just sort of an extra precaution. All right, so now you can see we've got still a lot happening here, and we've got some stuff tapering off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a saturator to try and add a bit of extra harmonic information just above 1K here. So we'll drop in our saturator, and we've got some controls here, but the bass frequency thing here, I like to bring this down to about -10 because we're not trying to add a ton of distortion to the bottom end, and that's going to help us do that. And we're going to turn the frequency up to 2K. So that's about where I want to start adding some stuff. We'll increase the width, and we're going to put the depth up as well. So let's have a listen. All right, now we're going to add some drive, and we'll pull back on this output. Be a little bit less than that. All right, so let's have an A/B test here. So I'm just going to quickly group these using Command G so I can turn them all off. So here's before, and here's with it. Okay, so we're getting there. We still need to get rid of some troublesome frequencies, which we'll do here in a second, but I'm actually just going to double the saturator. And I'm also going to change the setting to soft sine. It's going to make the distortion a little more intense, so we'll have to pull out some of the output. All right, we're getting somewhere. Okay, I can get behind that. Now, there are still some treble frequencies, so we're actually going to drop in another EQ to try and pull some of those things out. So, EQ8, right here. Now, we already have a lot of decrease in the lower end, so I'm just going to use a shelf here. And what this is going to do is this is going to just drop things down a bit. I'm going to set that at 200. So we can see we're getting a bit of a more even line, and it's about to get even more even. So EQ8 has this great feature here where I can actually just listen to a particular sound. So we want to get rid of some of the like woofing, and we can test that by just dragging our sound here. So right around 400 hertz. Sounds a little weird. Doesn't sound great, so we're just going to get rid of it. We're going to pull that out. And you know what? Let's bring this up a bit because 400 is actually sounding... I can get behind that. And then we're just going to boost everything on the top end here. Cool. So let's have a before after. And after. All right, and the last effect that we're going to add is reverb. Now, this is not an effects reverb. This is just to put the piano in space, kind of like emulate what the piano would sound like in a room a bit. So if you listen, it's a really dry sound, so we're going to work to get rid of that. Now, I'm going to pull the high cut off of both of these because our low end has been notoriously bassy. I'm going to turn off spin. I'm going to leave on chorus. But we really want to look here at this pre-delay. So pre-delay determines how long before the reverb kicks in. So when I hit a note, how long until the reverb processes it. So 250 is a little bit too long. I actually like this around 100 for a piano. And my decay time, just under 1 second. So I'll pull this dry wet back now. So here's no reverb. Here's reverb. Pull that dry wet down. And there you have it, friends. 4 stock plugins to transform Ableton's grand piano sound. Now, if you got value out of this video, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. I've got another video on the screen right now where you can check out 3 other audio effects that I love to add to piano sounds. And if you want some great piano sounds made only with stock Ableton plugins, you can check out my Pro Piano Effects Rack at the link on the screen right now. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week on livekeyboardist.com.